Energy is our number one commodity, and we don't take care of it at all.
So I'm learning, but guess what? I've got happier and healthier kids.
Do this with every meal. Just sit down and really have that intention of, I'm just going to enjoy this meal.
Welcome to Burnout Business and Body, the podcast that helps you take care of yourself and your life in 3 powerful ways.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm your stress management health recovery coach, here to help slow you down, reconnect, and rediscover the peace that lives beneath the pressure.
I am Belinda Smith, your business leadership and team coach, and I'm here to help you grow your team and your business as well as you can.
And I'm Sabina, your peak performance coach, helping you to fast track your performance from the inside out.
It's amazing. And together, through Burnout Business and Body, we will take care of all 3 things always. Today's topic is amazing. It's Sabina's topic.
Woohoo!
And I'm going to have a look at my notes here. 3 habits to upgrade your energy.
Who doesn't love a bit of energy?
Energy is our number one commodity, and we don't take care of it at all. Or we don't take care of it as much as what we could. And we're not strategic about it, especially in the business environment. And when you think of our energy translating to our performance and the dollars that we earn, or that our people earn, then it's really important that we take care of it in terms of protecting it, optimizing it, and systemizing it. So there's lots of reasons, lots of ways how we can do that: protect, optimize, and systemize. But today I'm going to just go over a few little really tiny habits that anyone can implement into their day, and just to find a shift in their energy, both mental and physical energy.
Wow.
Good. I'm your first client. Thank you.
Well, like you said, we all want a bit more energy, don't we?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
So really, we've all got, what I'm going to talk about is metabolism. So I wasn't intentional, but I was intentional not to mention that in the name, simply because we don't always realize that energy is a byproduct, or is the product of our metabolism, and we don't take care of our metabolism. And so these habits will help you sort of give it a little bit of TLC so that it can do what it's meant to do, and that is basically convert your food into energy. So we know that there's a lot that, influence our metabolism: muscle mass, sex, male or female, not if we're having sex with a male or female.
Thought that was a new topic for the day.
No, that's another one for you, Belinda. I'll give that one special to you. But there's so much that can influence it that it's out of our control, or, it's not. But in the daily of how we actually consume our food is really important in determining and dictating the speed and intensity of our metabolism. So really simple tips and really simple strategies that we can use just by being deliberate. So I'll get on with it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm super interested.
So the first one, I'm going to call it the 30-minute rule activation, or 30-minute activation. So this is, now I know fasting is great for your body, but this is about fueling your body or activating your metabolic system as soon as you wake up. And the reason you want to do that is because you don't want any slow time. You don't want any downtime. So for the majority of us, we get up in the morning. Hopefully we have a morning routine that sets us up and primes us. But also is we want energy from the minute we wake up. And we want the healthy kind of energy. We don't want adrenaline and cortisol running through our veins so we're wired. We want really healthy, clean energy. So by being intentional about eating within that window, the first 30-minute window, so after we've had a glass of water, and eating protein, which is really generating a lot of fuel, then that can actually activate your metabolism. So think of protein as sort of like the on switch. Is when you're feeding that fire, your metabolism is a fire. and the protein is like those big logs that generate lots and lots of heat and energy. Put that on the fire instead of things like maybe muffins or croissants or toast or something that is going to dull it. So think of those sort of like empty, nutritionally empty foods such as muffins. Think of that as like the kindling, and the logs are the protein, that sort of eggs and salmon and all those really high protein foods. So that will sort of take your metabolism up from where it was, but it will increase it higher. So you'll get more bang for your buck. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I
So
love this.
like would you be adding anything to the protein? So would you be just eating protein on its own, or would you be adding like the bread? Like if you were to have eggs, are you having it on toast? Or if you're having eggs, are you just having it with some English spinach? Or like what's the best
Great
way?
Great question. So ideally having the protein first. So if you're having salmon on toast, you'd make sure you don't have the toast alone. So you always have the protein first with it. So yes, you can add to it some toast, some whole grain toast, ideally. Something that is just some whole grain fiber. You can add that to it, and some fruits and vegetables, some spinach, perfect. But just ensuring that the bulk of the meal is protein. So it's very protein heavy.
Okay.
Because that's going to dictate the speed and intensity of your metabolism.
Amazing.
Think of it as priming your metabolism or setting the thermostat.
And would it be healthier if you didn't have the carbs with it, if you just had the protein?
I don't think it would really. It depends on each person. As long as your carbohydrates don't make up the bulk of the food of the meal, that protein and greens are still sort of taking over the bulk of the meal. But having that is sometimes people need to be, it helps with satiation, and so many people have cultural habits that they've taken for a long time. So having that that can make them feel like they're missing out if they don't have it. And then that opens up another can of worms.
And what about protein shakes? Is that a good form of protein, or is that just something to have with protein rather than like as your drink and you eat a piece of protein? Or can you supplement with a protein shake?
Supplementing with a protein shake can work really well. So one of the mixes I do, I call it, my clients call it Pond, and it's basically greens, so chlorophyll and broccoli powders with the protein, mix it up and then drink it. It's not particularly nice, but the idea is that it presses that button. It's the on switch of your metabolism. So protein powders, go for the simplest ones, the ones that have got as few ingredients in them, not too many fillers, because they can be quite chemically charged with lots of quite synthetic. So, but obviously food is the number one. But if you're busy, then they're a great alternative.
Beautiful.
Thank you. That's cleared mine up. I wanted to ask about adding protein. The kids often say, "Oh, Mum, I'm not hungry in the morning. Can you just make us a protein shake?" Because since doing this podcast, I've learnt that protein first. So they say, "Mum," my mum, they tell everyone this story, ladies, you would get a bit of a chuckle about this. So ever since my mum started this podcast, we have to eat differently and we do things differently. So I'm learning, but guess what? I've got happier and healthier kids. Protein first. Is it got enough protein? And then they make fun of me around cottage cheese. So we're just going to move away from that right now because I just. But we're learning, and it's interesting how the conversations in our house are changing because I have, switched to talking to the kids about protein first. I think you said protein before caffeine.
That's brilliant that you have it, and just like having conversations, Belinda, about nutrition. You've got young, not young kids, but they're young adults, and we need to have this topic for conversation so that they are aware, because there's so much information out there. The fact that you're having that conversation, that's huge.
And I listen to you, Sabina, and you really help in those conversations because I don't know and wouldn't know what to say in that area. I don't know what's right. And I think that's great that people can come to you and really find out what that roadmap is.
So my second thing is, what I'd say is eating distracted. So making sure that when you eat food, you do it in a proper way. So what does a proper way mean? It's basically not eating it in front of a computer or doing something else, eating it in front of the TV or on the run. Maybe you're standing up, or maybe you're, waiting for the bus and you're eating a sandwich. It seems as though that multitasking is, we're getting two things done at once. But the reality is our body sees it as completely different. And I've mentioned this before, but the body really loves to do just one thing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't like to multitask, and it wants to focus and put all its energy on one thing. But what happens if we're standing or looking at a spreadsheet or looking at our email or social media? We're diluting that focus. We're diluting how much energy we're actually putting into digesting our food.
Yeah, wow. That makes sense too, because it kind of it's a moment, sorry to butt in, but it's a moment where that pause that I talk about with the emotional stuff, you're pausing to allow your body to just do one thing, one really important task that will set you up for the entire day. But probably you'd say to do this with every meal. Just sit down and really have that intention of, I'm just going to enjoy this meal and allow my body to do what it needs to in order to fuel you successfully.
Yeah. And like you said, being intentional about it, like making sure that your brain is not on the spreadsheet or on the deadlines that you're trying to fulfill. Yeah. It has the energy that it needs to do the job it needs to do, rather than doing things half-assed. Yeah. Because indigestion is what I've definitely experienced it in my life, and there's a cost to that. So ensuring that you're giving as much time and energy to your digestive system, it's so important. And like you said, pausing.
Yeah, because that's such an important thing. It's a layer of stress. So if you're not actually sitting there intentionally eating your food and just enjoying that moment, it's actually a mindful practice without being a mindful breakfast, really. But if you're adding in the computer, the answering emails with a mouthful, whatever, you're actually stressing out your metabolism. It's a layer of stress, and that starts before you've even started your day. So it's a really important
and when you consider that digestive stress is what often, it's a bidirectional superhighway from your gut to your brain, is a stressed gut or stressed digestive system equals a stressed mind, and vice versa. So we're already stressed, and we're adding on to it we're making our life more difficult than it has to be.
Nicole, Sabina, you just said diluting our digestion. So realistically, when we're eating on the run, we're causing this.
Yes. Yeah. So your body needs to actually, when you're digesting your food, your brain needs to actually be engaged to start releasing digestive juices to break down those food particles. Also, when we're running or when we're doing something else, we're less mindful, as Nicole said, of actually mastication. So chewing our food into smaller pieces, which is the first step and one of the most important steps in digestion. So we're eating really quickly, we're swallowing, we're not breaking the food down properly, so there's not enough surface area for the enzymes to get to work on. It means that food becomes undigested, which ends up being constipation, belching, gas. But that's just a few of the ones we know. It can get much worse.
And so if your digestion's not good, if I reflect on that in business, does that mean when the food doesn't break down, or we're having a break, or our team are having a break, that we will have, be slower in how that's absorbed? So we're slower in in our execution of jobs. Maybe morale's not as high because we haven't eaten properly and used all of those nutrients to the best of our ability. We could make mistakes. We could have profit leakages.
Great point. Absolutely. Because if you're not digesting the fuel properly, it's like a Lamborghini. If the Lamborghini's fuel hasn't been, if maybe the carburetor or whatever it is, that I don't know what it's not working properly, right? Then the Lamborghini, no matter how expert or how skilled somebody is, they haven't got the raw materials to drive that to have that high performance. So we're asking people to do something that they don't actually always have. They haven't taken the time to have those raw ingredients available, if that makes sense.
I think in leadership, it would be important that to lead by example, taking that lunch break, and not only the mental pause that Nicole shares with us so well, is taking the time to refuel our body. If the leader did that, the team would clearly follow suit, because they would think it's really important.
Well, you wouldn't.
I actually do see some people look like they're making love to their food. They're like, I just love it. And I watch it and I'm like, why aren't I more like that? And I'm run, all the things. But is this really what we've got to do? It not, is this really like I'm wanting to this? I love food. Have a look. I really think it's important to know. I haven't been taught how to eat it or break it down. It's not a big topic. I love this.
Well, you don't want your team or anyone around you to be hangry. and I find, like a mother of two older boys now, but if they haven't had their food properly for the day, honestly, we're hearing the hangry remarks and all the rest of it. But it is an interesting thing. And just to a question for you, Sabina, is a lot of cultures, work cultures, and hairdressing is one of them. That's just one. But in hairdressing, you actually don't have the luxury to grab a lunch break sometimes. You actually have to eat on the go, because someone's colour might need to come off, or, you're booked out back to back. And I'm sure there's many other cultures in different
retail in general.
Yeah,
I would say retail in general.
Yeah, in a lot of areas. What's the price we pay for, pushing through? Because I know when I'm in the thick of my flow of work, a work day, sometimes it's not even occurred to me to eat, because it's been one thing after another, and before you know, it's 3:00. So yeah, like, can you walk us through what would actually what's the price we pay?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, the price is different for different people. But I know one of the biggest is just that gaining weight. Because we're not properly digesting our food, we're not taking the time to we're not even considering what we're eating many of the time, because we're just so hungry.
Yeah.
And we haven't got that time. Plus we're eating it standing up or on the go, so we're not masticating, we're not chewing it properly, so the food is not digesting. There's nutrient deficiency. So we might have a really protein heavy, nutrient heavy meal, but if it's not being broken down properly, then our body isn't able to fully absorb all the nutrition. So that food ends up leaving the body. And also just having a lot of pain. Having bloating.
Yeah.
I know, a lot of bloating, because your brain needs to be engaged in eating. It's not something that you can just do on the run. We are humans that require 100% of our attention to be doing. And it does sound, it sounds a bit, I suppose, draconian, but the reality is it doesn't take you don't have to spend half an hour having a meal or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you're just deliberate about it and actually think about how you eat your food and what messages it sends to your body, because your body is understanding all the time. You know, we all know this. It's environment from the outside and inside. It's always taking triggers, and so eating is one of those triggers. It's thinking, okay, well, if we're eating really fast, obviously there's a reason. There's a reason. So that stressed eating, your body thinks, okay, there's some stress going on. So it starts to raise cortisol levels. Raising cortisol reduces your digestive enzymes. It reduces how well you actually digest your food, right? So all those things start to go into play. That orchestra starts to play a little bit sort of out of tune, simply because you're not putting the time and effort into just doing that one thing. So being aware of that, and you were saying, you know, Belinda, from in leaders, I know that one of the first clients I had was in a junior leadership role, and I said to her there and then, you know, you as a leader, start to encourage, like, never have your breakfast at your desk, and start to encourage people just to sit by the window for 10 minutes and have something to eat. Because whilst they'll be taking extra time, because they're not feeling bloated and they're not feeling gassy and they're not feeling tired, their jobs later will actually become executed at a much faster speed. So you're saving time, and communication is better. I know when I've had, you know, stomach aches, whatever, I'm not as patient with people. You know, pain affects how you actually interact with people.
It does.
It does.
So
You make me think of so many things, like, you know, like low energy in business is really expensive.
oh yeah, 100%.
Like the cost of just that, you know, so focus or really good energy actually could be a profit strategy.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I haven't thought about
I
it like
think-
that, which is, I think, so important. And so your business can only grow to the level that you're, in Nicole's case, I guess your business can only grow to the level of your nervous system, of what it can sustain, and then what your body energy level can sustain. So if business owners
it's
that
all
we
about
serve,
capacity,
yeah,
right?
absolutely, we've got to serve
They
both.
don't have the capacity.
And
Yeah,
also-
we have to do this. We've got to do something, girls. We've got to do more. We've got to tell people this is important.
Well, yeah, locking out in your diary is lunch break. Here, sit down, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I'm eating my lunch.
Yeah.
And it should be something that is encouraged. There should be rules. I mean, I know when I first came to Australia, there was, like, we were encouraged to eat away from our desk, and it was a law firm, and they were very progressive law firm. I won't name them, but they were amazing. And just they encouraged people to go outside. And that was something so small. But even if you can't get outside, just go near a window and look at some green, get some fractals to your, you know, basically resetting your nervous system, taking your body away from those anchors that put you in stress that are at your desk. So being just really diligent about how you do things, and everybody else will follow once it becomes a culture rather than just one person. And the leaders need to take that role, especially as we're getting more and more stressed society. Digestive stress can't be ignored.
So what's the third thing?
That's
What's
a
the
great
third
one.
thing?
Yes.
The third thing, well, it's eating late at night. And again, this has got challenges, like you were saying about, you know, when we're working in retail, or even, well, not even just retail, any business, eating late at night can be something that is so easy to fall into. We've had a long day. We have, you know, and we probably haven't had time, or haven't made the time or created the time to actually sit away from our desk and take some energy replenishment. So eating at night is something that, you know, can be quite rewarding, but it's very, very destructive for your gut. And if we think about how your gut and your nervous system are constantly talking to each other, then that, coupled with, you know, that stresses your nervous system out even more than what it is already. And it's that superhighway, that bidirectional superhighway, that is talking to each other, and they're becoming your gut stressed, so your brain stressed. Your brain becomes stressed, your gut stressed, and it's just that positive feedback loop that makes you really stressed. So yeah.
So how long until we go to bed, or before we go to bed, should we stop eating?
So if you can, just eat something really light, if you know, and as soon as you can, as early as you can. So 6 o'clock is a good time. 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Try to go for something that is not going to take lots of digestion. So something that you don't want something too heavy like potatoes and heavy meats and things like that. But something like light soups are really good. Salads, with a few sort of pine nuts and things like that on that. Just basically supporting your gut so that it actually can sleep. So I talk to my clients and say we've actually got a little sheet, but it's about closing up shop. You're being very deliberate in the meals. They're functional, right? So the function of the evening meal is to close up shop. The function of the breakfast is to open up shop. So be clear about when you do that, and we should really turn off at a certain point too in terms of finishing off our tasks. So closing up shop, be clear to your gut what's happening. Okay, I'm going to because your gut needs to rest. It needs to replenish its lining. The bacteria needs to repopulate whilst you're asleep. So that's really important. That healing is a necessary part of of your gut. And sometimes people are eating late at night and then going to bed on an empty stomach. The food can't be digested. You don't sleep properly because your body, as we know, likes to focus on one thing, but it's not. It's half-assed in things. And then when you wake up, you often can't go to the loo because your food's still undigested. And then it starts again. It's this sort of, it becomes quite toxic, and you feel heavy and all that not nice stuff.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's incredible. Can I ask some questions? What about fluid at night? Like tea or coffee, or people have juice, or does that?
So never
same?
ever juice. So avoid fruit juices like the plague at night, especially, because that is it contributes to insulin resistance, and which we all know is on the rise again. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of our pancreas, which produces insulin. So never any juices. If we want to have a bit of light juice, like a celery juice, that's okay, or celery and a bit of lemon juice, that's okay, because that can detoxify. It activates your liver and can help detoxification. Teas are great. So avoid caffeine. But having some rooibos tea is really good. Peppermint tea, fennel tea, they're really calming to the digestive system. And just once you start using these regularly, your brain will use them as an anchor and a trigger to actually tell your body that it's about to go to sleep. So it's really good as part of a ritual to sort of like trip your body every time it's sort of time to tell it, you're telling it it's nighttime and it's time to switch off. So just using that deliberately can be really helpful.
Wow, I love this. I think this is my favorite topic.
Yeah.
I've actually written I hope I'm not in trouble for looking down too much because I've been writing things down, making so many notes, which is so good.
That's fantastic.
So when we at night, yes, by having the tea or however we're going to shut shop, we want to tell our body to do this and give it some cues. It's very good. And it's exactly like
well, we talk
like
about
leadership.
this in IFS and we talk about this like with kids, right? Is you tell them to do, you just talk one thing, just one thing. And it's the same in leadership, right? You can't tell people to do lots of different things. Tell them to do one thing at one time, because we like to do one thing really, really well. So give your body a chance. Give your body a chance because it wants to perform optimally, but you have to give it the opportunity.
So good. Wow. I think this will be great for some business clients. I think that they will well, they'll thrive so much more in the long term because they'll be led by people like yourself who can sustain that clarity and that focus, which will help them with their emotional consistency under pressure. And that is exactly what leads our teams to, being victorious, I guess, and happy. Amazing topic. Have you got any more tips for us today?
Oh, I'll save them for next time.
So good. Well, I've loved every minute. It's been so good. So, well, thank you so much, Sabina. A really, really interesting topic today, 3 habits to upgrade your energy. And we've got them all listed down. And this will be something that we can break up and definitely talk to our listeners to help a lot more in how they show up. So burnout, business and body, they aren't separate, they're connected. And when you take care of all 3, you don't just survive life, you thrive in it. We're here to motivate, educate and encourage you to take care of what matters most, and that is you. If something landed today, and I'm sure it did, Sabina has got all the tricks and tips. Don't just nod and move on. Do something about it. Follow the podcast, share it with someone who really needs it, and take that next step to work with one of us or all 3 through our 8-step growth master plan and the corporate work that we're doing. Our links are in the show notes. So this is Burnout, Business and Body. Take care of all 3 always.
See you, everyone.
girls.
I'm starting that tomorrow.
Bye. Bye.